pleasant good afternoon to one and all. Good afternoon, all. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Today being Wednesday, the 15th day of November 2023. Welcome, one and all to the Wednesday's episode of this program. I know from the attendance that people are just waiting anxiously to hear what we have to say. My colleague is already here with me in the studio, and we will commence shortly. Given the number of students we have this morning, we'll have to do a truncated roll call because we have so much to tell you about. So much. So share the live. We always encourage you to start off by sharing the live and let people know that we are in the school. And as I've said, the program was scheduled about 8 o'clock this morning, and immediately the schoolyard was crowded, and people continue to pour in during the course of the morning. And when we went live, well, on the Facebookers are airing their numbers, and we are willing, ready, and to tell you what is going on. I know we have to always give praise and thanks. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's celebrate. Let's be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. So many persons would not have been that fortunate. But we have a lot to tell you. In the notification, I indicated that we will deal with police discipline because people in the force have been behind us to speak about the police discipline, specifically the Police Discipline Act, and how it should be operationalized. Well, I can tell you, we might struggle to get into that this morning, but I promise we're going to address it. And we want to address it with time and address it comprehensively. We don't want to start and we don't want to stop. We want to deal with it so that people can get an understanding of how it operates, because there's clear evidence that people, including senior persons, do not know what to do. And it is causing a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. So we will address it. So if we don't get to it today, be assured, we have a promise that we'll get to you with it, even if we have to do a special program just to address that issue. So yeah, well, let me, I said this is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. In terms of roll call, we have to do a truncated, a shortened version, just to say to you, as I indicated earlier, when we went live, a lot of persons rushing to the schoolyard. People rushing in the numbers in the schoolyard. Let me see, one of the first persons to be in this morning was the original black man. He was followed by Kenneth, Isabella, and Pauline. And when we went live, let me scroll down and see. Those are the ones on YouTube. And then when we went live, who was the first person? Let me see who's the first person on Facebook. The system is a little slow this morning. But when we went live on Facebook at 11 o'clock, the first person in this morning, let me see, I don't want to give the wrong information. First person on Facebook this morning would have been, looked like Marcia, then followed by Raul, and the others came in as well. Now let me indicate from the beginning, last week, the last program, which was on Monday, well into the program, we get what is now a common thing in Guyana, that is power outage, blackout as we call it, which seems to be a daily feature in many areas. So I just want to tell you that if you see that we go off suddenly, either one of us go off suddenly, just bear with us, because we have arrangement to make sure we get backup power, but it will take perhaps a few minutes to kick in. But blackout, yes, blackout is a regular feature, a daily feature in some areas in Guyana. And let me start by telling you, birthday, we can celebrate some birthdays today. I want to, Senior Superintendent Jermaine Johnson, the IT man, is celebrating his birthday today. He's still a Detective Sergeant Boscom, Dion Boscom, the man who fight down and interdicted, who made the allegation about this corruption that is involved in the paper charge murder. They have him before the court, both criminal and civil. But he's celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating a birthday today is retired Deputy Superintendent Joseph Jack. So I want to wish those persons who are celebrating their birthday today all the best, all of them. And to Sergeant Boscombe, stay with the fight, my brother. Stay in the fight. Don't lose faith. I know it's rough. You're interdicted. You have to run to court. You have a family to maintain and all of that. But at the end of the day, things are going to work out. You know, the Lord would not forsake those who are righteous. So therefore, stay with it. And in terms of belated birthday, we have a belated birthday greetings to retired woman inspector, detective inspector, retired woman detective inspector Lillian Scotland. Scotty has celebrated a birthday recently, and I want to take this opportunity to wish all those who are celebrating birthdays today and those who celebrated their birthday recently all the best, best wishes to you, long life, prosperity, health, and strength. Now, let me update you. You know, we got to keep you updated. The people are uncomfortable with the fact that you are kept informed of what is going on in the courts with our matters, and we keep you informed with what is going on, because they are accustomed to just sweeping things under the carpet. You hear about some incident, and then if you are not following it up, next thing you hear, the matter disappeared. Well, we went to court on Tuesday, that's yesterday. I like a quick brief. Remember, I said Mr. Conway, myself, and others, we are charged with conspiracy to commit fraud. That when we were employed by the force to assist in revising the force standing order, we end up getting charged. For it. So the matter commenced September. On the last court date before yesterday, the 31st, we discovered that the magistrate was sued by the state, by the prosecutor, Jeffers and Soku, because on the previous hearing, she had refused to admit additional documents to be disclosed, and they sued her. And so when she adjourned on the 31st, she indicated we will continue, the matter will continue on yesterday's date for a report or for her to continue the trial. So yesterday, when we turned up at 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon, the magistrate indicated that she's not in receipt of any document or anything preventing her from continuing with the matter, because they had indicated on the last time that they had moved to the High Court with this statement of claim, and they had also sought to obtain an injunction to prevent the magistrate from continuing the matter. Well, the magistrate indicated yesterday that she has not received any document that will prevent her from continuing. So she's decided to continue, and they called 2 witnesses. So the matter is continuing, and the matter has been adjourned until the 1st of December. And then some other dates have been set. So yeah, the matter is continuing. So that is to bring you up to date with what transpired in court yesterday. And I see, but let me tell you this too, because I understand in another related matter before the court, another court, magistrate court, was set to make a decision sometime in another fraud matter involving ex-police and all of that. And I understand that ex-police and serving police, I understand that a similar action was taken to prevent the magistrate from delivering the decision. So let's see. But I tell you this, I said it before, I'm saying it again, the outcome is certain. They can delay as much as they want, but the outcome is certain. We are going to be vindicated, because the thing is a trumped up thing. No such conspiracy took place. No such conspiracy. And I noted Ulrich updating me with the cricket dice. Semi-final one is being played between India and New Zealand. India put up a fantastic score, 396 or 97, I think it is. And New Zealand is chasing. Ulrich just posted there, as you can see, that they need 132 from 60 balls. But let me say this, my brother, that Wankhede Stadium has caused India some pains. I remember in 2016, it was the same Wankhede where they had set a score in the T20 World Cup for West Indies to chase, and Russell Tiraf, and they pulled the score down. Well, Wankhede is a a quick scoring ground, one TD in Mumbai. So let's see. It's an uphill task, no doubt. But as we have said repeatedly, cricket is a game of glorious uncertainties, a game of glorious uncertainties. Let me bring my colleague in for him to give his opening remarks, and then we'll continue as quickly as we can. CC, welcome to Speaking Out.
Thank you. Good day to all. Happy to be in the land of the living and to be able to do God's work. So let's get on with it, man.
Yeah, let's get on with it. Let's get on. Now, let me see what is the first subject I want us to deal with this morning. Now, look, let me make this point clear at the outset. And I'm referring here to a matter with a police inspector by the name of Roop. We spoke about this matter on this program before. Inspector Roop, who is stationed at Regional Division 4C, that is on the East Coast, based at Covanjan, is the man in charge of traffic. In April of this year, 2023, he was charged criminally with some sexual offense. I'm not sure of all the details, but he was charged some sexual offense, and it was stated then that the sexual offense allegation involved some teenager, some young person. Despite that, he has been on the job. He has not been interdicted. I made the point that the normal thing is, once you're charged, whatever rank you are, whether you're constable or whatever, you're charged. If you are a constable to a sergeant, you're interdicted from duty and placed on half pay from the day you appear in court. So from the day you appear in court, the divisional commander, I was involved in that process in several divisions. You inform, many cases you do it by telephone, you call the staff officer. I think the designation is now changed. I said, John Jones went to court today, and what is the position? You follow it up with a short report. They will now prepare an interdiction notice, interdicting the person from duty from the date they appear in court. And the notice will state that you're interdicted for whatever reason, pending the outcome of the charge. Some cases they mention the charge and all that. Pending the outcome of the criminal charge. It's automatic. If the person is from inspector up, some similar, the low phone call, but a short report is quickly sent to the Police Service Commission, and that person is interdicted from the day they appear in court on person half pay until such time, and the thing states until the matter has been determined. Now it simply follows that if at the end of the trial the person is acquitted, then they are reinstated and they get all the back pay. If, however, they are convicted, then they are dismissed from the date of conviction. That is standard practice. That is standard practice. However, we have an Inspector Roop from C Division, traffic man in charge of traffic and C Division. The man is not interdicted. And I made the point, in fairness to the system, in fairness to the Police Service Commission, that when he was charged in April of this year, the Police Service Commission was not properly constituted. The court said that, the Chief Justice said that. So I suspect then that they could not have interdicted it from that day. But the Police Service Commission became fully constituted since July of this year, I think July 13th or something like that of this year, when the chairman of the Public Service Commission, Mr. Maniram Prasad, was sworn in. And the chairman of the Public Service Commission is an ex officio member of the Police Service Commission. So from the time Maniram Prasad was sworn in July of this year, the Police Service Commission became functional. And the question, therefore, is since July this year to now October, why is Inspector Roop still on the job? We have the chairman of the Police Service Commission, supposed to be a bishop. I say up to now, I'm sure he's a bishop, a religious bishop, or a chessboard bishop. We have the secretary of the Police Service Commission, Jai Singh, who has been there forever. He said so in an affidavit, lied in an affidavit and said all manner of things. And these people have not taken action to get Roop interdicted. And again, I say it's not about Roop. It's about a system. We like to talk about the rule of law. And it is clear that no rule of law is operating in this case. And let me say this too. Let me say this. Normally, as I've said, you're interdicted from the date you appeared in court. I believe they might be in a quandary because the date they appeared in court, there was no service commission to interdict him. So they might be wondering from when he should be interdicted. That can be easily resolved. That can be easily resolved, and the man can be interdicted, because when you interdict, there's a question as to the legality of putting a person off pay, because some have argued that when a person is interdicted, the person should not be deprived of any salary. I am too sure what the implications are there, but I'm saying that there's no way this inspector, who has been charged criminally since April, should be still on the job when the Police Service Commission became fully operational in July of this year. And let me say this too, because I learned recently that they have been taking disciplinary, at least initiating disciplinary action against certain people. They have initiated disciplinary actions against certain people, but they have not started fit to interdict Inspector Roop. And people don't like hearing about it, but I will say it. People, they want to claim that they don't discriminate, that everyone is treated equally. They think Inspector Roop is of a particular ethnicity. The persons against whom they have initiated disciplinary proceedings are of a different ethnicity. So we want to know if that is part of it. That they say you're talking race. It's not race and ethnicity. We're talking rule of law. It should be applied equally across the board. And it's the same way that you are initiating disciplinary actions against members of the force. It is within your mandate to deal with the Inspector Roop matter as well. I think this thing is becoming more outlandish as the days progress. The man charged since April. He is still on the job in November working. He's not interdicted. And it's not a minor charge. It's a serious criminal charge. If I lie, it might very well be an indictable charge. An indictable charge this inspector is facing, and nothing has happened. Of course, the people will tell you, you used to drive the extended squatter, and you get relationship here, you get relationship. My point before I bring in Mr. Conway is that if we are talking about the rule of law, then the rule of law stipulates that all should be treated equally. That is an evil farm business where where all of us are equal, but some are more equal than others. Let me bring in CC to make his comment. Mr. Conway, your comment, please, on this matter.
I agree with my 3 cents, because I read Animal Farm. I studied for GC. I got a credit literature. And is Animal Farm at work, or maybe racism too? And if you look at, as you quite rightly said, if you look at this inspector, he was the driver for the man who the extended squatter. Got several promotions under him up to inspector. My information is that the file, after the DPP had recommended charges, the file took a long time sitting in the office of the squatter. Only after people made several complaints it moved. And then when they went to see the division, it remained in the commander's office for a long time. He was subsequently charged. As you rightly mentioned, the Police Service Commission wasn't fully constituted. Therefore, they could not have taken any action. But now they have been fully constituted for a number of months. And we've been talking about it. I mean, if the police did not write them on it, they should be looking out and keeping their ears on the ground in relation to disciplinary action to be taken against him. None was taken against him. But as you rightly said, they started proceedings for disciplinary action against certain members of the force who are of a different ethnic background. And I'm talking about senior superintendents, and I'm talking about superintendents, not inspector. Perhaps nothing should be done with the low rank, but the senior rank they're working against of a different ethnic background. And I don't have any confidence in this Police Service Commission. No, 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 none whatsoever. Especially under that bishop, or who is calling himself a bishop. But I give him the doubt as a bishop. And I will always repeat that on the 4th of July last year, he said that he was waiting on the recommendations from the Commissioner of Police for ranks to be promoted. And then on the second, 250 something ranks, inspectors and officers were promoted. And I could, and let me say a thing. And he had Calvin Brutus, who was a senior superintendent. He had a disciplinary matter pending with us at the Police Service Commission. Karen Bash had disciplinary service commission pending with us. Stanley had matters pending. Jupiter had matters pending. And a whole set of them. And the rule is, as long as you have disciplinary matter pending, you are not to be promoted. And they promoted all of them, despite their disciplinary matter pending. And they had competent officers from a different ethnic background, they sideline them for political reasons. I repeat, they sideline them for political reasons because mostly they're from a different ethnic background. So it strikes on pure racism. Pure racism. I mean, I have to say it, but there's my humble opinion that current police service commission, certain ethnic background can do as they like and nothing happen, and then others who don't do anything, they're taking action against them. And here's the case with Roop. Months pass, they have been fully constituted, and no action is taken against him. Why is it to interdict him? Is he special? Is he above the law? Yeah. The president and all is not above the law because he breached the constitution when he unlawfully suspended us members of the Police Service Commission. And the judge ruled that he was wrong that he breached the commission. So nobody must be allowed to breach the service commission. Something must be done about this present Police Service Commission.
Yeah, they must follow the constitution. They must follow the relevant laws. That's all we're asking. They must follow. They must be even-handed. You are taking disciplinary action against certain people, and you have a man who is charged criminally and placed before the court. Eventually, because they say there's a long process that took before they got him there, and he's still working, still in uniform working. Can you imagine that? That a man in uniform, a man who's before the court facing serious criminal charge, is working in uniform, and then you have other people being dismissed. Like Damian McLennan and those persons. You have those 3 constables from Berbice and many others being dismissed by the extended squatter. And you have such a situation going on. So I will continue to speak out on it. We will continue to speak out on it. And again, I say, if I see Roop on the road, I don't even know what he looks like to identify him as a person. So it's not about Roop, it's about the system. It is about the system. So that is why I am going to continue to speak out. And, to go straight into the other issue, because the fact-finding team is here, and the government claims, well, they're not going to deal with them. They do not want anything to do with them. But the people are investigating discrimination and marginalization. And this is an example, too, of discrimination. You have one man of a particular ethnicity who is charged and placed before the court, and from all the rules, should be interdicted. He's not interdicted. But then you have others against whom allegation of a disciplinary nature has been made. Understand this clearly. This matter, this thing that they're initiating, disciplinary action against officers of a particular ethnicity. And in a case where an inspector of another ethnicity has a serious criminal charge, let me understand this, a serious criminal charge before the court, they seem not to want to take the appropriate action, and that is to have him interdicted. And right away, let me move in, as we said, the delegation is here, the U.S. fact-finding mission is in Guyana to investigate, as they said, allegations of discrimination, marginalization, extrajudicial killings, and all of that. They are here to do that. The government make a big noise. They claim And you know, the first thing they said in the release, and I have it here, so let me read what the release said. It said today that the government of Ghana notes from publication on social media that a delegation from the United States of America intends to travel to Ghana on Monday, November the 13th, 2023, for a fact-finding mission. Here again, what they're saying, the government notes from publications on social media. So in other words, they're claiming the only time they got to know about this from publications in social media. So, but contrary to what they stated, the head of the delegation, I'm reading it here, indicated that the president knew of the visit. And I quote in what she's saying. 3 weeks prior to the delegation's visit, President Ali was informed and didn't object, but instead welcomed the team. 2 weeks after, 2 weeks ago, she's saying 2 weeks or so ago, I sent the president a notice of courtesy and respect, stating that we will be coming to Ghana, and noted the allegations relating to the country. He did categorically deny all those allegations and said they were false. However, in response to our statement, he said that he will be looking forward to our visit. He will be looking forward to our visit. That is what the people are quoting the president are saying. They communicated with him 2-3 weeks ago, but then the release is saying this is so disingenuous. The release is saying that the government of Ghana notes from publication on social media that a delegation from the United States of America intends to travel to Ghana on Monday, the 13th. Well, again, I say so disingenuous. The people are saying, and of course, they haven't come out to dispute the version given by the head of the mission, where she communicated directly with the president weeks ago. He denied the allegations, but said they were going to welcome these people for this fact-finding mission. And then they give a statement to say, government will not engage with this committee, with this fact-finding mission. They will not engage. And I learned through a source that the people made, and I saw a release somewhere on social media, some article I read on social media, that they asked they wrote to the extended squatter, who is the acting commissioner of police. Incidentally, I see now when they no longer address him as acting, so I want to know at what stage he was confirmed. Up to today, this morning, I saw something about a Christmas activity they have today, and they say commissioner of police. As far as I'm aware, he's supposed to be still acting extended in the pool. But that aside, the people wrote for security, and my information is that the letter wasn't even acknowledged. So the people are here, a delegation of about 14. Some of them are state senators and people of some repute in the states, but they're not providing any type of security to them. Let me pray. Let us pray that nothing happens to these persons for the period of time that they're here, but they will continue to do their work. They've indicated clearly that they're going to continue, they're going to interact with groups, they're going to visit areas and hear what it is. They are going to visit and hear. And I say again, before I bring in CC, this conference was organized. They claim that it's Bork organized the conference. The people here said they have nothing to do with Bork. The PPP, the government ran out in front. They ran out in front because this thing was organized in September. They ran out and they met with some people, congressional background, some of the congressmen. They made and they laid their story. They said that these things are not true. They made their case. Following that, the opposition and other diaspora groups organized this conference and they made their case as well. Now the people, being sensible people, are not going to take what the government say on face value. They're not going to take what the opposition and other people say. So they have decided to come and do their own investigation. That is what they are afraid of. They don't want that. So they recognize that the people bias and all sort of claims they have made. They want them to investigate electoral frauds in 1968 and 1970, all sort of things they're claiming. They want them to investigate political assassinations way back. And I have to make the point the other day, if you're going to investigate political assassinations, you got to talk about Sadio Sa, you got to talk about Waddle Waddle, but they did not mention those two names, and so many other things. So they are running and they are hiding, But at the end of the day, I suspect that the people will be able to come to their own decision as to what the situation really is. Let me bring in CC now again. CC, what is your take on this fact-finding mission and the fact that the government claimed that they launched through social media when the evidence is there? At least the leader is claiming that they interacted with the president weeks ago and advised him of the visit, and he said that he's going to welcome them. He denied the allegations that were leveled, but he says he's going to welcome the team. What is your take on that?
Well, the government always been talking about transparency and accountability. And here the people coming, the lady saying that hey, she's been talking to the president and she's here when the president jump on a plane and float. I think he's gone to Saudi Arabia. I think they're afraid of this disaggregated evidence that the people are going to find, which they cannot debunk. They're saying that there must accountability and transparency. And here is it. People come and they come with an open mind, but the government is afraid of what they're going to see. But I hope that other persons, or there's a window of opportunity for quite a number of persons to come forward and tell it like it is. That's how it should be. Because the government can't say the people lying and can't come up with facts, can't come up with irrefutable evidence. And I'm sure that the people are going to find the evidence. I'm sure they're going to find what the lawyer nearly used as been saying as true and as correct. So let me, in my own little way, welcome them. I hope that they're properly taken care of, despite the extended squatting not giving them any security. But I know God is with them, and they're gonna go back safely, and they're gonna go back with all the information, the correct information, all the facts, and not no truths, no half truths and lies, but they get the fact and they come to their own conclusion.
But yeah, that is it. They will come to their own conclusion. They're gonna again. These people are reputable people who I am sure will be able to discern exactly what is going on. And when you talk about the evidence of discrimination, we just provided evidence here in the Roop case, Roop charge, and before the court is not interdicted. But then you initiating disciplinary action against certain people. So the evidence is clear that people are being discriminated against in several ways. And I'm sure they're going to find that out. Because I am certain a lot of people are anxious to interact and to provide them with the information, not just word of mouth, but evidence, figures, like the figures that Mr. Hughes has provided over the months. Figures, disaggregated information. So don't tell us that you're spending how much $1 billion on road repairs. Yeah, let me hear where the money is being spent. And don't tell us that you're spending or you're giving contract to Afro-Guyanese to do work, 10 contracts. Let me hear the dollar value. And let's compare that to the contracts that have been given to people of other ethnicity. Let's do that. Let's break it down. And then we're going to see exactly what we're talking about. Let's justify, and this is something that I wrote something on it. I hope that somebody pass it to them, or if I have the opportunity, I will. We talk about the indigenization of the police command. Clear discrimination again. Clear. All that is evidence. Where you have a force which is dominated by a particular ethnicity due to historical circumstances. But in the past 2-3 years, the command positions now are being filled with Indian officers who, as we have seen, lack experience. Several cases, I can point them out. Let me point out some to you right away. We had the case on the Essequibo coast with Dharamlal, where the commander said that he took a statement from the victim, took 3 hours or something to take some statement. Clearly, he was trying to coerce the victim to not to proceed. Show clear case of incompetence, probably even criminal, probably even a case of perverting the course of justice. Nothing happens. We had the Mahdia in Region 8, who was an Indian commander. no cordon of the area, no securing of the crime scene. So the very next morning, the minister, Priya Manichan, who now claims that she had nothing to do with the thing, and Mark Phillips, the lying prime minister, they are in the debris. They are in the debris. We have that. We have the case on the East, Berbice, Region 6, where a commander can say they are profiling people. We have the one on the highway, the Ilfoot incident, where the commander there can call people thugs and hooligans and deny it. Deny. He like the prison officer, the chief, the director of prison. You're denying something and the people got you on tape. So you have all these instances, all of these things. So CC, did you remember the Indianization part? I know you would not have forgotten, but all that shows discrimination too.
Yeah, I do remember it. I can't forget it. Huh? Region 1, Region 2, Region 3, Region 6, I think 4C, 4B. And in some cases, you have the commander is an Indian, the deputy commander is an Indian, the traffic chief there is an Indian, the crime chief is an Indian. And another part of discrimination to where not a woman is a senior superintendent, and there are many qualified women, qualified both academically and professionally. Not a woman is a senior superintendent. Not a woman is an assistant commissioner. Not a woman is a divisional commander. Huh? That's how they have it. And then they're Indianizing it. God help the Ghana police force.
Well, they require divine intervention indeed. They require divine intervention. Let me move on. Now over the weekend here, you had what? I see somebody reporting 3 women. Well, 3 died over the weekend. You had a woman who was found in the hotel. I see they say now that thing was on Sunday. They are looking for her husband, who is the prime suspect in this murder. Then we had the burnt remains of a woman found in a car at Swan on the Linden Highway. Somebody had to indicate. Somebody said to me like Swan is the incinerator, because you can remember following the Paper Shards murder, the car that is alleged of being used was found burnt out in the Swan area. So it looked like Swan is an area that attracts these things. This woman burnt out. This woman burnt body was found there, and then it is now being reported that the woman who was shot in Berbice by her husband or boyfriend, whatever it is. She was shot since October. She died Monday night. And it says Berbice engineer turned himself into police after his fiancée, it was his fiancée, succumbed to gunshot wound. Well, I don't know. That's what Sabroku said this morning. She succumbed to gunshot wound. I don't know if they have seen the postmortem report when they said that. But let me go through, because the same Stabrook News thing this morning, I read it and I found certain part to be very interesting. You know, I served in Berbice for a number of years. And Berbice is a strange place, especially when it comes to certain incidents. It's not only at the prison head office magic that's occurred. Berbice is a place known for magic. But here what this thing says, I'm going to read excerpts of this article in today's Stabrook News. And the caption is Berbice engineer turns himself into police after fiancé succumbs to gunshot wound. And it says, the first paragraph said, Neil Majamutu, who was charged with last month with attempted murder for his fiancé's Ashmin Mahdia, yesterday turned himself into the police after Mahdia succumbed at the New Amsterdam hospital Monday evening. So this incident, he shot her. He's alleged to have shot her in October. I think it was October 1. And she was hospitalized. They charged him for attempted murder. He was released on $500,000 bail. She died Monday night. So after she died Monday night, he turned himself in. Now, let me read some the parts that I found a little interesting. Meanwhile, according to the police and relatives, the postmortem examination was carried out yesterday by government pathologist Dr. Bridgemohan at Bailey Funeral Home located at number 4 Village, West Coast, Berbice. The article goes on to say, Commander Bacchus, he's the man in charge of Region 6, which is headquartered in New Amsterdam. Commander Bacchus, in a statement yesterday, had initially said that, and he's quoted here, to say, it must be noted that Dr. Bridgman didn't give a cause of death. He reported to investigators that that's why he say this green verb, that you have to see the deceased hospital records, and he will give the cause of death within 24 hours. Continue. Now, his deceased brother is saying here now, Naresh Mahdia, Ashmin's brother, yesterday said that he was left confused as to why the autopsy results were not issued immediately. He said the pathologist informed him to give him a call tomorrow, that's today, for the results. The man is alleging that the pathologist tell the brother he must call him for the results. I'll tell you, Bob, this is an interesting place. You must call him for the results. The brother said that he could not bear to wait out the day and decided to phone the pathologist yesterday afternoon and was told, quote, you get the media involved in this, after which the call was ended. The article go on to say around 7:30 p.m. last evening, Barker said that the cause of death was given. Barker said, being the police commander, said that the cause of death was given as septic anemia, shock, lobar pneumonia, and gunshot injuries. So the cause of death, according to the PM, according to what the commander is reporting, septic anemia shock, lobar pneumonia, and gunshot injuries. Meanwhile, Bacchus, the commander, yesterday confirmed that the female has since been placed in custody as well as promised to communicate details of our arrest. The thing get even more interesting. According to a police source, a female who is also from New Amsterdam was arrested for attempting to pervert the course of justice and is accused of attempting to coerce the now deceased woman to affix her thumbprint on a document that reports folks, I hope you can hear me now, and I will continue because let me bring in, hold on, some technical issues here. Sissy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You were frozen for a while.
Yeah. We had some. The gremlins are at work, so it looked like it is now resolved. Let's hope. Somebody was saying not hearing, but I hope you can hear me now. I will continue. I was reading the part from what they said. I said the last thing we said. Wakanta Narish, this is brother of the deceased woman. Last Thursday, a female who was in custody along with a female attorney at law connected to the accused visited the sister of the Georgetown Public Hospital. He said, he goes on to say, I couldn't go today, so I called my wife relatives in town to just go over and check on her. That is the deceased, now deceased. When the lady go, she meet female in custody and the lawyer, and she asked them is who? And the girl said she's Ashmin's friend, and that this is Ashmin lawyer, and they want them to and they then walk out. He go on to say, the man say, I go the Friday and Ashman tell me how them say, mommy old, I'm not gonna be able to take care of her, and them promise what them can do for, and them try to say that them can do something for the signal. Folks, they're clearly messing with the signal. We had got interrupted again. They're clearly messing with the signal. I hope you can hear me now again. But we will continue. You know, this has never happened before. But they are messing. They are messing with the signal. But we're saying, let me read the last part of this thing, if they allow me to. The last part, the disappointed man, I'm referring here to the deceased brother. This said that he believes persons are intervening in the matter and is frustrated at how the entire situation is being handled. He's quoted as saying, I can't blame the police because they do as much as they can. But every time they do something, like people call and give them next order. So he's saying that like every time the police do something, people calling and giving them next order. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to have his comment. He worked in Berbice too, and I said Berbice is a strange place. CC, let me hear you.
Like you, Paul, yes, I was the commander in Berbice, and that's a place I born and grew. And I used to get some very strange post-mortem reports too, and also a lot of things dealing with murder. I remember one time I had an offer of $5 million in a murder matter to change a 16 gauge cartridge from 16 to 12 gauge, and I refused. And lo and behold, during the trial, the ballistic expert could not have remembered the number of the gun. He was dropping a one, and one of the accused walked free. I reported the matter, and remember the DPP said, hey, charge a guy, interdict him from duty. I subsequently came off, and he wasn't interdicted. I don't know if he was charged, but that's how the thing going that a lot of strange thing will happen in post-mortem reports and bodies and in murder investigations. Very, very strange place.
Yeah, that has been my experience too in terms of strange things happening. Not have been offered, they never offered me anything, I take the chance. But strange things happen in Berbice. Strange things happen in Berbice. I'm going to talk about, I remember there was a case where there was an incident where a policeman attempt murder on some way by in Thomas Land there. And a senior officer, a man who now sits in a senior position when he was giving evidence before the magistrate, left out certain digits from the serial number of the firearm that was being tendered. And I remember that incident very well because when he was questioned, he made all sorts of foolish remarks in the witness box, telling the lawyer that something about mistake and everybody can make mistake. And he was very argumentative and he busy because he got to be protecting people like you and all of that thing. A senior officer, an officer in the force who now holds a very senior position, made those statements, and it's not an allegation, he made the statements, it's a record in court. So once you get gun involved and things strange and especially in Berbice, I know strange things occur. So when I read this article this morning, I wasn't too surprised. I was not surprised because I know this perversion of courts of justice thing, people has got and money that's passed and people certainly get amnesia and all kind of thing happens in these matters. But continuing on the trend in deaths, we see over the past couple of weeks as well, there were a lot of a number of fatal accidents, and the numbers are no doubt climbing. The numbers are climbing. But you know, like the people, the director of prison, these people get some fancy maths. The last time, about a month or so ago, perhaps even longer than that, it was reported that there were 171 deaths, fatal deaths and fatal incidents. Up to now, nobody can tell me what is the distinction between a fatal accident and a fatal death, especially when these things occur on the road. When they occur on the road, they can't tell me. But all right, they're doing the magic. Fatal deaths, fatal accidents, and fatal incidents. But the total they gave us was 171. I have it written down. So let's see what type of magic they're going to use to reduce that number. And I am saying, as we have said before, the authorities seems incapable of dealing with this issue. We have said on this program that they need a comprehensive attention. This thing needs to be addressed comprehensively, not the piecemeal measures that they are taking. And what are some of the measures? Let me tell you some of the measures that they have taken. The Minister of Home Affairs promised to adjust the law to allow for diplomats and senior government functionaries to have sirens and flashing light on the vehicle. That is one of the measures the minister announced. Again, let me repeat it. You have runaway accidents. I saw a picture over the weekend of a man who was killed across the river. His whole leg cut off, completely severed from the body. A motorcyclist. Too gruesome to show on this thing. Completely severed. Completely severed. And he was there, and two men pick up the leg and put it in the corner. And the remainder of the body was lying there. Then you have, that's one of the things. So he doing all of that. The minister decided he's going to tweak the law. I think that is a word that he had used. He's going to tweak the law to allow for diplomats and senior government functionaries to have sirens and flashing light on their vehicles. Remember that? Not so long ago. They changed the traffic chief. They moved Stevens, they put Singh. Again, no, they moved Stevens and they put Singh. Singh come out like Newton Bolt out of the blocks, and for the past couple of weeks, you hear nothing but he has it, and the accidents continue. You hear anything more. They talk about campaign, and I said campaign don't work. Campaign cannot work in this environment, this lawless traffic environment we have. Campaign can work. And I made the point too, this now is not a policing matter, it's not an enforcement issue alone. It requires comprehensive intervention by all. I mentioned last week too, one of the things they did, I think that went to Parliament, the Attorney General did announce that, and they increased the fines for persons found driving under the influence of alcohol. The fines were increased, and notwithstanding the increase in the fines, last week it was, I think, a man who is now charged of causing death by dangerous driving. He was involved in an accident across the river, which resulted in the death of someone, a pedal cyclist. He was found to be above the legal limit. He was charged for being driving drunk. He pleaded guilty and was fined $50,000 Guyana dollars. $50,000 Guyana dollars. So how serious can we be? I don't know what the circumstances are. Perhaps the magistrate had good reason to fine him only $50,000, but it seems very strange. So now I'm saying all of this have to be looked at. Then you have a case, what more they do? They change the traffic chief. I don't think they've had any significant impact on anything. The man in the chair, the extended squatter, he had removed all the divisional traffic heads. He moved them all around. They call it rotation, but it's transfer. He transferred them to different areas in traffic. He also said, he announced that policemen must line the streets, traffic policemen must line the streets to prevent persons from speeding. These are the interventions, at that top level. They must line the streets to prevent persons from speeding. That allows a respect the road campaign. And the Minister of Home Affairs is alleged to have ordered that ranks must wear white gloves, traffic ranks must wear white gloves so that it can be easily identified. He also said they made ladders. This thing is so comical. And let me show you what we're talking about here, man. I like the graphics. Look what they have done. They make a ladder. This is a ladder for the poor. And this junction that you see, for people who know Georgetown, this traffic man is standing on this ladder at the corners of Avenue of the Republic and Brickdown. They're just outside by Parliament Building and the Magistrate Court in that area there. The church across the road. This man up on a ladder in the middle of the intersection because I believe that will allow for better visibility for the drivers. And I made the point then that I could imagine them wicked minibus drivers making chapters, driving close to scare the policeman. And I pulled up the picture because last week someone of the students said they really couldn't believe that they would have done such a thing. But this is the picture there. This is the picture. So imagine someone lose and think, but apparently it has discontinued now. I don't know if the policemen refuse to go on it or what is the reason, but it is discontinued. The thing looks so stupid. And then look, the next initiative, respect the road. So you have a billboard, respect the road, with the extended squatters picture in it. Now tell me how that's gonna assist in solving the traffic problem. You tell me. But that is what the initiative is. That is what they do. Ladder. Policeman stand up on ladder there. And then a big billboard. Somebody say, yes, Marcia, very clownish indeed. So those were the interventions, and therefore there is no, you can't be surprised when the madness, the carnage continues on the road. If you drive on the road of Guyana, you're going to see some remarkable craziness taking place. Rules don't apply. Traffic lights are not obeyed. Drivers don't know what the solid white line or the solid yellow line means. They don't know, at least they operate in that manner that they don't know. Those trucks along the road, the speed, they got in some areas 80 kilometer speed limit. The men just fly past, whoops, and they're gone the way. And it is clear that if anything run across the road or anything like that, they can't control those big vehicles, minibuses, all categories of vehicles. Bicycles dashing around, motorcyclists dashing, all categories. So it's lawlessness on the road. And in order to address the lawlessness, you have to have a comprehensive and proper plan. Let me bring in my colleague at this stage. CC, your views.
The lawlessness on the roads will continue because what they're doing, they're picking the fruits and leaving out and not dealing with the root. You pick the fruit, other fruits will come out. But if you chop the main root, the tree will die. So the root causes of these accidents are not properly dealt with. I remember when we were looking at crime and we had the citizen security program. And we established what they call ISIS. Yes, we had ISIS in Guyana, but it's ICIS, Integrated Crime Information System, where they employ some data clerks who are inputting the crime figures and so in the computer and sending it to Ministry of Home Affairs. I didn't agree with thing going to Home Affairs where they were doing analysis. And the thing was that before long, we'll have real-time analysis of what really is happening in the crime situation. They'll reach a monthly part, but I don't know whether ISIS is still around. And I said over and over again, it must be an holistic approach towards crime, towards traffic. And it must be data-driven, the 3D approach. data-driven decisions, um, form what I would call an integrated traffic information system. Let the information go to a central body where you have trained assessors, trained and persons to do analytical work, to analyze the situation, what is going on there, the type of accidents being committed, type of day, the day, whether it's daytime, whether it's nighttime, you know, and the categories of offenders being involved in it. Is it minibus driver? Is it hire car driver? Is it cyclist? You know, you do proper analysis, and based on those analysis, you will utilize your human and other and other resources to deal with it. And let's take for example West Demerara. I heard the traffic chief saying that the the fatal accidents, and he didn't mention incidents, surprisingly, was about 300% as compared to the last period on the analysis. I think they had 9 in the previous year, and then they had 28 in 28 in the same period this year. And you know what's his reaction? They're focusing on nice nuisance. Focusing on nice nuisance. You have to do proper analytical work if you want to get results. Here is it, thing gone up by over 300% fatal accidents, and you focusing on nice nuisance in minibus and in higher cars and that kind of thing. They're not really they're not really approaching this thing holistically. And I've been saying over and over again, it's not only the traffic ranks, the general duty ranks must be involved. Ask the general duty, stop in, ask, even last year made a traffic case. And can't answer you, tell nobody, I ain't get time for them. And there's where the commanders, I hear the traffic people talking about the commanders and talking about accident. The commanders must be actively involved too. And we're missing out the 6C, the corruption. The corruption is there. It's there. They have the loaner driver package. The cops and faith organization used to mark the papers. Now they gone online and they left everything to Zaro. Because Zaro give them computer centers, Zaro marking the papers. And they got take what Zaro say. Because they ain't doing no integrity testing for the Zaro personality. They not do any anti-corruption exercise or operation for Zaro people. What Zaro say is no. And then the practical exercises. Very few practical exercises being done, and I doubt whether they're doing any by night. But when you go to GRA, because when you do the practical exercise and you pass, they give you a call a competence, and you go to GRA and get your license. But very few people doing the practical exercise. But when you go to GRA full up with people with confidence. Where they getting the confidence from? So they need to address corruption because people are not for driving vehicles on the road, and that's why most of them you get the accidents because persons who are not trained, who don't know to drive. Check those people who doing who drive in school. 90 something percent of those persons who gone there to learn to drive already get a driver license. They get a driver license and they go in there and learn to drive. So we're not addressing this corruption, the corruption in driver's license. That's where you're getting this main thing where you're getting all of the accidents. So they're not looking at it holistically, Paul. And therefore the madness gonna continue our roadway.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. And let me say, I don't know if you recall, well, yesterday when we were in front of the Venezuelan embassy there protesting as we do on Tuesdays and Thursdays, a woman who Guyanese returned, and she told us that they were coming down from the airport, and the first encounter they had with the police was somebody trying to extort a raise or a bribe from the driver. That was relayed to us yesterday. I know, CC, remember that?
Yeah, I remember clearly.
So
Yeah.
you talk about the corruption, so therefore there's corruption in the system, and that has to be addressed. That has to be addressed, right? There's hardly a person who drives around in Guyana now who will not have encountered some inappropriate action on the part of the police. And again, I say a lot of these ranks are doing the correct thing. They are dedicated ranks doing the correct thing. And I used to always make the point, and I continue to make the point, while I was in the force, I went after the corrupt ranks, and because what happens is that people don't differentiate. They paint all policemen with the same brush, and therefore it's incumbent, it behoves the honest ones to take action against those dishonest ones. That is what got to happen. You have to have people from inside, the Sopicos, who will call out their colleagues for doing the wrong thing, speak to them, and if they don't want to do the correct thing, then you have to take some other form of action. But it is terrible. People talking about their experience in this place. Are we talking about wanting tourists and all of that? In this madness, what we call the road is madness. I always make the point. I drive in several countries. I drive in Guyana too because I think I understand how to navigate the thing. People have come to this place, people who I used to work with, and they make it clear that, look, there's no way they are driving on the roads in Guyana. They make it clear they're not driving here, and these are people I travel with in Barbados, in Trinidad, in all the small islands, in Jamaica, and they rent car and we drive. Not in Guyana. They tell you plain they're not driving in Guyana because it is madness. And in order for the madness to stop, first there must be an admission that this thing has gone out of whack, as they would say. And then deal with it in a very comprehensive way. But let me move on. And I want to move on to deal, I hope this is the last time I'm dealing with this issue. This is the Mahdia Commission of Inquiry. And the reason why I feel compelled to deal with it is because I saw a report, a release from this was on the 10th of this month. Starbrook News again. Article dealing with the Mahdia COI Council strongly criticizes fire officer, the chief fire officer, and the regional educational official. Here it is. This is the headline. Go read it. Read it yourself. Mahdia Commission of Inquiry Council, and then put the name at the heading. Kioma Griffith is the name. Strongly criticizes chief fire officer and the regional educational officer. And if you recall, we had the fire at Mahdia in which 20 lives were lost. And it was then discovered that the Minister of Education, Priya Malik Chan, had commissioned UNICEF to conduct an investigation. And they provided a report, and they flagged a lot of stuff, fire hazards, grill, no fire fighting material, no proper marking, and all of that. They flagged these things in the report that was submitted to the Minister of Education, and nothing happened. Well, I should say nothing. The minister said she informed the relevant authorities, and it was tabled in cabinet. That's what the Minister of Education said. Now, when it was revealed some weeks ago that the commission does not intend to call the minister as a witness. Starbrook News had an editorial travesty, and they made the point: how can you conduct a credible commission of inquiry into this matter and not call the Minister of Education, who had commissioned a report, who received the report and did nothing substantial to action the recommendations in the report? So they were closing this thing. The minister wrote a long epistle claiming that is not a responsibility of our ministry to maintain buildings and so on. In other words, the grills and so on that were on there and had been flagged as a fire hazard. It wasn't our ministry. She says the Ministry of Local Government responsible for buildings and maintenance and all of that. However, you have the Commission of Inquiry not calling the Minister of Education, not calling the Minister of Local Government to give evidence. And I said, and I maintain, as a result of that and other things, this Commission of Inquiry can be a credible commission. Whatever report they put up, they are just whitewashing this thing. And I made the point too, let me repeat it, Because when this thing started to circulate first, they were told at some stage that an arrangement was being made to compensate the families of the deceased person to the sum of 5 million Ghana dollars. So those families of that persons who died in the fire. And for those families of that persons who suffered injuries, I think they were getting $3 million. But the strange thing was, in those early reports, it said that somebody from the Attorney General's chamber and a lawyer from a law office in South Road, they did not mention the name, a lawyer from a law office in South Road was involved in this negotiation. The lawyer from the office in South Road acted on behalf of the deceased relatives and the injured person's relatives, and the lawyer from the Attorney General's chamber acted on behalf of the state. Lo and behold, when the Commission of Inquiry was announced, I discovered that it's the same lawyer who acted on behalf of the deceased and the injured person's relatives. He was the same lawyer for the Commission of Inquiry, the same gentleman by the name of Keoma Griffith. And I said then that there is a clear conflict of interest. How could he have represented the relatives of the deceased in this negotiation? Somebody said coercion, coerce them to take $5 million, and then be on the lawyer for the commission. And I said after being the person representing these people, the only role he should have in the commission is if he has to give evidence, if he goes there as a witness. But no. And then this same person now, let me read what some of the things that the man said. The man is blaming the chief fire officer acting Gregory Wickham, and former regional education officer for Region 8, Anesta Douglas, were raked over the coals for their inactiveness towards the dire need for fire prevention supplies at the Mahdia Secondary School dorm, as was recommended in the fire inspection report by Sub-Officer Ryan Scott of the Mahdia Fire Station. It goes on to say the council expressed dissatisfaction at the manner in which the subject was treated, since many lives were at stake. And the court here is saying, it's appalling that the chief fire officer only acknowledged 1 out of the 12 recommendations in Officer Scott's report, and 1 of 12 recommendations, and lives were at stake, Griffith lamented. Then he goes on to say, quote, it is my view, and I will put forward to the commission to really examine how effective the chief fire officer was in these circumstances in light of his 30 years experience. Mr. Wickham don't think that it was important to install fire alarm system, smoke detection system, or any of these things, but what was ensured, but what was ensured that GWI, Ghana Water Inc., was aware of the duty to regularize the water main system from 4 to 6 inches for fire hydrant to have access to pressurized water. And then he blamed Mrs. Douglas too. But I'm saying, these people again so disingenuous. How can you blame the chief fire officer? And somewhere in the same statement he made, where they know that things have to be budgeted for. So you expect that the chief fire officer of the Ghana Fire Service would have acquired fire extinguisher and other firefighting thing to be installed in the school? That is the fire officer's work. I would believe that once the fire office, the person did the inspection, he put up the report sent to the ministry, whether it's education or local government, they had the responsibility to implement those things. But according to the lawyer, Mr. Griffith, that should have been the responsibility of the chief fire officer and the regional educational officer. And I say I got to mention, because these people can't be real. These people cannot be real. He's not blaming the Minister of Education for not actioning the recommendations that sent to her. He's not blaming the minister, then seek to cast the blame on local government. He's not blaming local government for not installing these things, but he's blaming the chief fire officer for not installing firefighting equipment in the dam. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to say something about this. Mr. Conway, can you imagine that the lawyer for the commission blaming the chief fire officer for not installing fire extinguishers and all of these things at the school, when the same fire service that he had pointed out these deficiencies, the grill and all of that. So perhaps Mr. Griffith had expected that the chief fire officer will also remove the iron grills. That is what really led to the death of so many children. Cece, let me hear you try to unravel this mystery, man.
It's not a mystery, you know. It's plain talk by that attorney at law. And I listened to him. And I listened, that one, I didn't read anything. I listened to him carefully what he said. And he attempted to throw we call it the REDO, no? Regional Education Officer and the Chief Fire Officer. He attempted to throw them in the fire. And the minister, she didn't even get no heat. Don't jump high, jump low, come hell or high water. It is the minister's responsibility. She sanctioned the report by UNICEF. She said her own words that she took it to cabinet and cabinet accepted the recommendation. And all she did as a leader, pass it on to the relevant people. How is that? Is that leadership? Is that supervision? Paul, you know, in our time when we give SOs, someone officers instructions, and they can't come and tell you that they talk to some constable. If you're talking to constables, you got to ensure that the instructions was carried out, that the instructions were properly carried out. You're not just passing information. And here is the minister saying that she sent it to the relevant authority. Huh? And I'm allowed to. They didn't call she. They didn't call Damlal. And I wonder if he's still on administrative leave. I wonder if he's still drawing his full salary. I wonder what's going on there. You know, this whole thing, you know, coming down to be like a sham. I'm saying the minister should have been the star witness in that inquiry. She should have been there to give and give the Guyanese public, give the Guyanese nation or vision for the education. What would be done to prevent something like that happening? 20 of our young children died. 20. And the signs were there that this thing was waiting to happen. It was waiting to happen. I'm not going to blame no fire chief. Where the fire chief going to get money from? If the fire chief makes his requests, them they got to ensure that they give him the necessary support, that they give him the necessary resources to do the work. But the minister's there, scot-free, dancing up the step, dancing about the place there, and 20 persons, 20 children died, and she's not there to give evidence, and then saying is the ministry of local government, and then even call Dharamlal for give any evidence there. I don't know, some Paul. The whole thing is a mockery, man.
It is a mockery indeed, and it becomes even more ridiculous when the lawyer is saying, and he went into the box to get a wind up, as they say, that the fire chief was responsible for installing fire extinguishers in this building. The fire department did an inspection and identified these problems, sent the report to the relevant as the minister authorities. They are the ones, and this young lawyer is trying to tell people that it was the fire chief's responsibility to install fire extinguishers in a school. How ridiculous. These people have no credibility. They don't think about their credibility. How could you have said that? The fire chief, this thing sounds so surreal to me that they are going to blame the fire chief for not installing fire extinguisher and other firefighting equipment at schools. Because you can't say this one school at schools. So it's no longer the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. And if we were to go by the Minister of Education, who says that maintenance lies with the region. It is no longer the responsibility of the region to deal with this, but is the fire chief. How ridiculous can we get? How can you take this, whatever comes out of this inquiry, seriously? How can you take it seriously? Well, CC, as we said, we live in Guyana, and Guyana is not a real place. And I want us to close with, we can't stop talking about this issue with Venezuela. And I heard the question was asked this morning whether we in Guyana are doing enough. And this is in light of the fact that, yesterday, the International Court of Justice began airing the Guyana's story. Guyana filed a complaint basically because Venezuela intends to hold this referendum on the 3rd of December. So Guyana went to the court for them to have an intervention. Yesterday, Guyana presented what I consider a fantastic argument by Carl Greenwich and the others. And today, it was Venezuelan turn to rebut or to present their argument. I listened to a part of it this morning, a lot of flowery language. But at the end of the day, at the end of the proceedings this morning, the court decided that I think the agents of the two countries should be on standby because we want them for clarification or whatever, and the ruling will be given shortly. Now, Venezuela, based on what I understand, Venezuela's argument is that this referendum that they intend to hold on the 3rd of December is purely an internal matter, and that the court should not intervene to prevent a state from holding something to determine an internal matter. But what they did not say, and what we know, is that yes, I guess Venezuela has the authority to hold, like any other state, a referendum on any issue in the country. But this, especially question 5, it tends to impact on the Guyana's sovereignty, because that 5 is basically asking the Venezuelan population to allow Venezuela to annex or to attach Essequibo to the map of Venezuela. And so they can't see how you're going to argue that it is purely an internal matter when it is likely to impact significantly on a neighboring country, in this case, Guyana and Guyana's border. Right? So the court will hand down a decision. I suspect they will do so before the 3rd of December, the date on which Venezuela proposes to hold this referendum. But Guyanese have to be stayed informed. You have to remain alert as to what is going on. And the question was asked, as I said earlier, as to whether the government is doing enough. My answer is a resounding no. I don't think enough is being done to educate and to highlight. For example, somebody said to me yesterday's hearing before the ICJ, should have been on the national, it was on YouTube, it should have been broadcast so we can follow and hear what is going on. But I don't know if that was done. I don't think it was done. I didn't see any announcement. Should have been plastered all over social media, let people go. I mean, later on, there was a delay on YouTube. You can find it, and there were news items and so on. That is not enough. We have got to be more proactive in dealing with this issue. This is a big, big matter. This matter, it is not a easy matter. Guyana's territory, our sovereignty is threatened by this action by Venezuela. And as I've said, people who have been involved in this process all over the years, I've said it has never reached this stage as yet. It has never reached this. They rattle the saber and they do all manner of things, but it has never reached the stage where they are massing troops or they have massed troops on the border. They claim initially that they were dealing with minors, and our people in this country ran with that propaganda, including the chief of staff, that the operations that they have on the Venezuela side is to minors. But the people, when you look at the clips, and people have translated those clips coming out of Venezuela, they have made it clear that the exercises that they're having there relates to the border issue. That is what they're saying. Building a strip and all this type of thing. That is what they're saying, and people are silent in the wake of this. But let me bring in Mr. Conway as we to give his remarks, and let me close off.
I kind of agree that it is an internal matter in Venezuela, but it's an internal matter to take unlawful external action. And we're talking about annexing the entire Essequibo. That is a big issue. And as you rightly said, we're not doing enough in terms of education, which NCN should have been broadcasting nothing live to the nation, and maybe some other television station, even if they gotta get sponsorship. That is the situation is a critical situation. To me, Venezuela has declared war on Guyana. They want two tours on unlawfully. This was set up since 1899. And we are not doing enough. Just like how they went when they did this presidential retreat, or they're giving out some crash grant some way, and NCN would be there. NCN should have been giving us live and broadcasting and let us know long in advance that we're going to broadcast live what is going on at the ICJ. We are not doing enough, Paul, not enough. And the time has come that we must do it, and we must be more aggressive, perhaps a little tit for tat situation. That's how it's got to be. And they're still not looking. I heard the extended squad said that they're sending more police in the in the border regions. People has got to talk to them. Their morale is low. You got to lift their morale. Just as how his cousin could charter a plane and fly to Skellon, plane had to wait on him, and then he gonna fly to Rosal Estate airstrip, and the plane got to wait on him for him to visit him and New Amsterdam police station. Let this quarter, the extended squad, charter plane, and only charter plane. I was a commander in the interior, and when I used to go to certain locations, I used to call the families of some of the police there and ask them if they have anything to send in there. Some of the women used to cook some special meal and carry send in to their husband, as the case may be. The other thing is that we have to look at the welfare of those persons on the border. We have to deal with them, and we have to lift their morale. I'm saying that the morale is low, and I have an experience in the late 70s and 80s working at border locations, and I had experience as a commander working at border locations. I know what is it to be there working under threats. I know what it to be at a station and they have Venezuelan aircraft circling your station for several minutes, circling your strip and all kind of thing. Somebody has to be there and dealing. And nobody, and the fittest person is the extended squatter to deal with his men. And I'm repeating that NCN missed a beat when they did not broadcast what was going on live to our nation. I mean, now and again, they might give us one little clips here and there, but we should have had it live.
Well, I agree. I tend to agree with you. What somebody just said, the thing NCN, nobody don't watch NCN, so they might not have been able to get it from NCN. And you know, I listened to what you're saying. I read something briefly. I didn't get to read the whole article. That the extended squatter is saying that they're beefing up police at the border location. Now, why would you want to announce that to the world? Again, just to show, I'm telling you, these people are incompetent. In light of the threat from Venezuela and the saber rattling from Venezuela, you want to go and announce publicly that you're putting more policemen at those border locations? No, that is wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. Do your thing, but you don't have to announce it. Do what you have to do, and not everything you need to announce. And this is a man who's supposed to be camera shy and mic shy. He comes out now and he rank talk. So that is why I believe that he has been avoiding the mic and camera since that fiasco with the debunking story. But these people, again, I say it's to emphasize that these people are not competent to deal with certain situations. You have a serious crisis where Venezuela is basically threatening to invade, or at least to annex 2/3 of Guyana to their country, to issue identification card and all of that to residents, Guyanese who are residing in Essequibo. You decided that some decision might have been made to send additional policemen, but you got to announce that. You have to announce that. You have to make such an announcement. You are making such an announcement. Look, God help us indeed. CC has always said, God help God. We got to get divine intervention because the incompetence is startling. The incompetence is startling. These people don't know what to say, what to do, when to do it, when to, and they're not perhaps being advised appropriately. The minister is silent. The national security minister, national security advisor, silent. President has refused to address the nation on this critical issue involving our sovereignty, involving the very existence of some people. And you want to tell me that they are serious? Folks, in terms of this issue with Venezuela, as I've said, Guyana argued yesterday in front of the ICJ. This today, the Venezuelan rebutted. I think they are now adjourned, and the ICJ will render the decision shortly. But what I want us to understand, and based on what Venezuela is doing, Venezuela is basically saying that whatever the ICJ decides in respect of the validity of the 1899 arbitral award, they are not going to respect it because they've already trying to argue, and part of the referendum is saying that they never respected the jurisdiction of the ICJ. That is the issue. So when the ICJ, that is what they're set to do. They are set to reject whatever the ICJ finding is. And they know that the ICJ, based on all the evidence, is more likely to rule in favor of Guyana. So they're laying the groundwork of a referendum to say, well, we don't respect the ICJ jurisdiction. So when they rule, either on this interim matter or on the substantive matter at some subsequent stage, they'll say, well, we don't respect the ruling. We don't respect that. We'll go ahead. Then when you come the referendum, it is a foregone conclusion. It's a fait accompli that the Venezuelans are going to vote to say that they should annex, as they're asking to do. Then what next? Our people should be educated and prepared. What next? What next? So this will come to you and offer you identification card and so on. What should you do? That is the type of education that it should be targeted in those regions like Region 1 and 9 in particular, because I understand there are hundreds, perhaps thousands of Venezuelans in Region 9. That is the Letem area. Region 1 is flooded. Some people have even suggested that the Venezuelan population in Region 1 either equal or outstrips the Guyanese population. This is an existential threat that has to be dealt with properly. It has to be dealt with properly. And I don't get the impression that the people who are to deal with it are up to the task. I don't think so. They are taking it lightly. People pouring in, Venezuelans pouring into the country, involving in crime. I saw a photograph yesterday. There's a story where at Purica, where they claim 5 Venezuelans hired a taxi, went to the back of Ruby, someplace there, stab up the driver, attempted to, they robbed him, I understand, and attempted to cut off his head. He lucky that they cut it from the back. So if you see this gaping wound at the back of this man head, because if they had done that to the front, his trachea, his windpipe would have been severed. He would have been a dead man. The man played dead, and then he tied his neck to stop the bleeding and thing, and he was subsequently rescued. It is a serious problem because not all of the Venezuelans who are here have good intent. It is clear that some of them are going to be involved in criminal activities. Some have been found with drugs. Some have been found with firearms. Some involved in all manner of things. Yeah, there are going to be people who are here genuinely as refugees or as migrants. But we have to have a system to differentiate who is who. We have to have that. And I don't get the feeling that we have a good enough system to do that. So you have a lot of Trojan horses, you have a lot of agents maybe infiltrating the country. Remember not so long ago when just before the extraordinary debate when the opposition asked the foreign affairs minister for the number of Venezuelans. He said, tell them to go to immigration and ask, what you're asking me for, go to immigration and find out. Now, how would immigration get figures on all the Venezuelans in the country? They have come to no airport. Many of them have come to no regular ports. How are they going to get the information? I don't know how they're going to get it. So people are not serious with this thing. Folks, I want to close. As I said, time flies. I want to close this morning by again inviting you to be safe. Also inviting you to join us tomorrow, Thursday, 10 o'clock in front of the Venezuelan embassy. We're going to continue to be there, even if it's the two of us. Others have joined us, and we welcome the participation. But even if it's me alone, and I know I'm going to always get a colleague with me, once God gives us the health and strength, we're going to be there to make our voices heard. And we are inviting you to join us Tuesdays and Thursdays, tomorrow, Thursday, 10 o'clock in the morning. We are going to be there, and we're going to continue to protest. I want to leave you now, as we normally do. Let me pull up, we said, not a blade of grass, not one grass, not a blade of grass. Let me play it for all of us to hear.
We are a peaceful people, struggling, we struggle, and we don't look for trouble, just ask around. But when outside faces